What's going on, Virgo? Welcome to your Sagittarius Full Moon reading. That's my Sagittarius Full Moon dance. This is super exciting. So we have the theme that came out for these readings as I was going through and meditating on the energy was Resplendent Surrender. And just the richness of saying, you know what, I don't know, and I'm willing to know, but I'm just admitting that I have no idea, and being open to what's coming, being open to the world around us and to all of the juicy stuff, right? So that was the theme that was coming through, and we're going to dive in and see where this takes us. Okay, Virgo, I'm pumped for you. Okay, so I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, so we're going to pull from the Journey of Love Oracle because, of course, we are. Okay. Spirit, what messages do you have for Virgo, please, and thank you. Drop into your heart. I think Taurus had this too. Taurus's reading took it was like a weird turn, but it was a cool turn. And I just had this vision come to me of time bending. Like it was wild. And then a dream that I had came to mind as well. And I worry that I talk too much about these things, but it was quite interesting. So if you have Taurus in your chart, that might be worth checking out. That was not even a real shovel. Okay, Spirit, what messages do you have for Virgo, please, and thank you. Oh, both. Okay. Beauty and contemplation. Fabulous. I like that a lot, actually. I'm going to read contemplation to you. All right, let's see what happens here. There you go. Within you, there is a question arising. When you get the question right, the answer will be self-evident. But you have to plunge your consciousness deep within to find the right question, to articulate it clearly and understand what it is that you are really asking. That question within you is actually a divine gift of awakening. It is your future awakened self waiting to be found and calling to you too. Let the question arise through dreams, dance, meditation, sleep, yoga, time in nature, swimming in the ocean, bathing in an aromatherapy bath, or receiving a hot stone massage. All of those sound delightful, don't they? The question holds within it the next unfolding petal of the lotus of your being. This oracle brings you an invitation to enter into the mystery of your life and your being, and to allow the biggest question you can summon to emerge from your heart and be expressed through love. Your question may emerge as clear and shining or soft and yielding, a question with no words, only feeling. Whatever truth emerges, let that be your contemplation. In response to that question, the next step forward will unfold before you, revealed in perfect clarity and perfect timing. This oracle brings you a message from your own divine nature. Come sit with me and breathe. I want to ask you something. I want you to ask me something. Together, there's a conversation that we are to have now, and there will be beautiful accord between us that overflows into all of your relationships, bringing more understanding and peace. Wow, that's really beautiful. So I think this is just about like stillness and remembering that your divine nature, there's something about your divine nature here being unbounded, or, unbound by not by embodiment, but there's something about this like unbounded self. I'm all about that. Okay. I'm going to pull from the Light Seers Tarot here, and let's see where this takes us. Spirit, what messages do you have for Virgo? Contemplation. It strikes me as such air energy. You might have air in your chart as well, but it just strikes me. And I mean, we're in Gemini season, so like it's like apropos. It's seasonally appropriate. Spirit, what messages do you have for Virgo, please? King of Swords. It's kind of where you are now. Or sorry, Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords. This Knight of Swords is a little bit interesting. First of all, you can tell that this knight does not skip leg day. um, but there's so sorry, it's weird stuff that anyways, this is the binary code for home. It's really blurry, too close up, but it's the binary code for home. Let me see if I can bend this down further. There we go. Yeah, it's the binary code for home. So it's like the knight might be fast moving, but in this deck it's almost like a move home, right? Like a moving towards something that is home or like home. So I feel like you're and this can also just be like a momentum energy, like a moving energy. Like you're moving. I'm not gonna pick. Yeah, there was too many in there. Thank you. Like a momentum, a movement. It's like you're in motion right now. I'm seeing like, so I went for a hike the other day and it was raining. And like, I will tell you, hiking in the rain is one of my favorite things because there's like so few people around, but it's not just that. I sat by a waterfall, and maybe this is relevant for you, Virgo, but I sat by a waterfall as it was pouring. It was pouring. I was already soaked. I had a rain jacket on, which is hilarious because why? And anyway, so I was sitting there by the waterfall just listening, and you could see ripples from where the raindrops were falling in the water before it went down the waterfall. And I was just struck with this, like, it was just this moment of immensity where I was like, wow, water is really certain. Water seems so certain. And then I was like, no, it's not that it's certain. It's just that it is. And we ascribe all these different things to it. But I was just awestruck by the way that water just, the echoes of it in that little waterfall area and the roar of it. I was like, man, water just sounds like it just knows. It just knows. And it does. I think that's probably, it would not shock me if there was some kind of science that, evolved or emerged in the next like 10 to 30 years that show that that's like how you can, that water has, because like I was watching, like that water just has a quantum component or some kind of aspect to it that makes that possible or something along those lines. Because I've watched videos about how people talk about this and it's just been interesting to me, and then just sitting by it, contemplating. But the motion part, what comes to mind here on this Knight of Swords, I realize I'm talking a lot, but it's all just come through. The Knight of Swords, what I'm seeing is like these ripples even in the water before it goes into the waterfall. So it's like water itself is in motion, like there's a motion, but then there's this quiet ripple within the motion that you're sensing, that you're seeing. There's like, that's where this pause, this contemplation, it almost feels like it's slowing down time. But what's happening is your awareness is slowing down, and that is your closest representative of time in your awareness. So it's like that water is slowing. Water is slowing. No, it's like, I don't even know. That's how it feels, right? That's how it felt. I was sitting there and it felt like I was slowing time down. But all that I was doing was just training my awareness to something so seemingly minuscule. Yeah. So we have the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Cups. Okay. Virgo. A little bit of romance here. Unless this is okay, so I just got this storyline. This is how you okay, hold on. Let me do this and just get these out here so that I'm okay, so I really like this layout. But I just got this idea. You're like, okay, BRB, gotta go by. And then you show up here, you're like, oh hi. Like there's like this way that you're like running, you're like, oh, and something occurs to you, and then you're just like, that's how you show up. This is like the embracing energy. Alternatively, if this isn't about a relationship where you're just showing up and being like, oh hi, because you're like Knight of Swords about it, you're like, I get it, I'm clear. This is so interesting. I think that this could also just be the way that you're showing up. Like this could be, where you've been, where you are, that kind of idea. And the energy to embrace is just pausing for a second. Just pausing. And if this isn't romance externally, like, externally sourced, this is within you, right? I mean, the idea to me is just like we are whole and complete on our own. And I feel like that it isn't just about like, because a lot of channels talk about twin flames and things like that. And I'm still not sure. I feel like I'm not sure how I feel about them. Not that I don't believe in them or anything along those lines. I feel like so much of the literature focuses and just the teachings focus on two parts of a whole. And really it's two wholes, like two whole and complete people coming together. It's not this like weird, you complete me. Like it just doesn't feel healthy, right? It doesn't feel healthy. So, and if we're not responding from that, I am whole and complete on my own place, even with things like work or projects or what have you, it's like, how can we respond well to another? And how can we love deeply? How can we love in a way that is just abiding and so many amazing things if we can't love ourselves that way first, right? If we can't love ourselves that way first, and that may be something that just this tenderness that you're embracing, right? You're embracing this tenderness here. Yeah. Yeah. And some messenger energy as well. Just the Hermes wings on the shoes there. It's like, so I think that there's like this embrace of perhaps like a more tender way of being, a more affectionate way of being, not just with other people, but with yourself, and really welcoming that in. And I think what's funny is that to release is the Eight of Pentacles. So it's like this release of imbalance, right? This release of just not looking, this release of disbelief that something could happen, this release of like, and that's, I think the surrender is just surrendering to whatever crosses your path, but you have to make space first, right? You have to make space for it. Where it's just like, if you're constantly working, like I do enjoy work. I find I just like it, right? It could be, I don't know. I'm not sure. My moon is in the 10th house, so it's Capricorn, so I'm not sure. But I really love work, because I don't like to singularize Capricorns and say they're all about work and blah, blah, blah. No, there's more to them than that. But it's like, I'm not sure where that comes in, but this idea of like working too much, it's possible. It is possible. So it's like releasing the focus on output. And because this is a very input energy, Knight of Cups is an input energy. And I feel like the way the light gets in is this Ace of Wands. There's an idea, there's a connection, there's a creative spark. This could be a spark with someone, but this could also be a spark in general where something occurs to you and you're like, yep, that's the direction that I need to go. And there's just this awareness, I don't want to say a certainty, because I feel like it can indicate attachment, and we don't want to, it's not that we don't speak of it like it's Voldemort. It's not like that. Like, but it is just this idea that we need to be mindful of how we use it. Because we can slowly just start to, be okay with attachment in the way where it's like, oh, well, I'm certain of it. There's sure, you can be sure, but certain, it like anchors. I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I'm rambling, but because like there's ways of knowing. You can know things at the core of your being, but it's different. Like certainty needs evidence. I feel like this is like a core of your being knowing, right? This is a very core of your being knowing. Yeah. And it's like a breaking free from boundaries. Like boundaries, not boundaries, but like I'm seeing a moat. Like I'm seeing a moat, and then I was looking at this and I see a hockey net. I filled my Canadian quota for the day. But I see a hockey net where it's like that for a metal hockey net, you actually have to tie all of the top. So the net comes separate, and then you have to tie it to the metal at the top of the bars, the crossbars, in the back of the net. So it's almost like it's like the goalposts haven't shifted. Your entire goal has shifted, and that whole thing is breaking free. And like that, it's like changing the game for you. It's changing the game for you. Let's start to clarify here, because these are really beautiful messages. But I feel like a lot of things are just occurring to you right now. A lot of things are occurring to you. So yeah, so leaving behind disappointment. Bravo, Virgo. Leaving behind a bit of disappointment here, I think. And just, I think, disappointment awareness, like a disappointment consciousness, because it can become a consciousness that we step into. Yeah. It's like, yeah, disappointment consciousness. It's like leaving behind that energy. It might have protected you before, but does it serve you? No, not really. I mean, maybe you might think it does, but does it really? Because like if the devil's showing up here, that's kind of indicative of the energy of that, like the core energy of that. So I think it's almost like there's something that you realize, I get, because the Ace of Wands here is a realization. But then with that slowing of time that I got on at the beginning of this reading, it's almost like there's like this way that your awareness slows and time slows down, and then this sort of catches up. Like this, you'd think this whole reading would be with this Ace of Wands starting here and then telling this story, but it's almost like time is doing something funny here, where it's almost like an elastic band, or like when something's moving really fast, it can like cause this wobble. I can see it in my head, but I'm finding difficulty articulating it. But it's like there's an elastic band that is like, it was pulled back. So it was pulled back like this. And then this part is just like catching up to where you are. So it's almost like these are stories of how things that are happening at the same time. But this is the manifestation that you can't see yet, Virgo. Yowza. It's just a lot of information. It's very dense. It's very dense coming through. So I'm seeing a paper clip. And not the my guides are so funny. For like what went through my head was anyways, what they showed me was the paperclip with the old Microsoft Word one with like the eyebrows, and it was like, "Are you sure?" And it was yes, I'm sure. And then it was like the certainty, like riffing on that. And anyways, Virgo. So, Spirit, what messages do you have for Virgo? I feel like there's like a burying yourself in things that you're letting go of. Like I just felt like burying yourself. And we do this, like, you know, I had family that did this with substances, and, you know, there are times where I've done this with work, where I've done this with other things, and like, am I really excited and proud of it? No. But it's like when things are going on and you numb yourself, and instead of addressing the thing that you numb, you turn towards all of these things, because it's so much easier than focusing on any pain, right? But when you face the pain, that's when you can transmute it and move through it. That's when you can move through it. Oh, the Magician came popping out here. Yeah. And it's almost like a reminder of like energies that you can be manifesting in right now, right? You can be manifesting in this Devil, Five of Cups energy, or you can be manifesting with the freaking Magician, because I feel like this is showing up as you, right? There could also be a Capricorn coming to your aid, or offering assistance or help or insight. Spirit, what messages do you have for my Virgo? Please and thank you. 10 of Swords. Yeah, that's the ending. You're like, done. And then sound effects. And then it's like you're moving on. Like this is sort of like the story of you arriving at the realization of, it's almost like this ripple, right? So again, I go back to the water, and I feel like your awareness is like the waterfall itself. And then for half a second, and maybe this is where the timeline, I'm hearing timeline. Okay. Whoa. Okay. So many things are going through my head right now. There's a lot coming through. So I'm getting that this is possibly like a shift in timeline, because I'm seeing in Taurus, I saw the ropes where they were like, that's like, it was like the universe shifting something and like shaking you out of something. And then but the ropes were like rainbow, and I had a dream once that was like, there was like a rainbow road, which I know is like a Super Nintendo reference for all my Mario Kart nerds. But it was like this road in the dream, and I was driving in like a crystal car with someone who was teaching me about astral planes and things like that in the dream. And it was like this beautiful rainbow road, and I imagined the ropes made of this same kind of like translucent rainbow stuff. That was yeah, it was just, it's like I'm seeing that here. So these things are moving, right? The ropes are moving, And then it's like all that you experience in the 3D is seeing this ripple. And that's where this ripple starts to move outward. And that's where this Knight of Cups comes in. And this could be a person coming in. But I get that this is also just that ripple going outwards of your awareness. And then something coming in, or you being like BRB, and then you're off because you recognize it. But then there's like this ripple effect where it's like, this is maybe both you making an offer and also an offer being made to you. But there's like, it's almost like, I'm seeing a victory loop, like a, yeah. Spirit, what message do you have for Virgo, please and thank you? Two of Swords. I don't think that this is, I'm getting the impression because of the dreams and like the sort of parallel consciousness energies that are coming in here. Let me turn on the light a little bit. Oh, I don't know if that really helps or just makes the shine worse. There we go. But I'm almost getting that this is something that you can't really see clearly yet. Like this is like a lot of internal facing energy. Yeah. And the amount of water in an air card, like a sword card, is telling to me of not necessarily emotions, but a lot of intuitive leanings to help you navigate, right? Because if you were to take a ship out, it would possibly hit one of these little not outcropping, but what you know what I'm trying to say. So it's like you're navigating these waters and these sort of topographical features of your intuition. Six of Pentacles, the World. There's the victory loop. Okay. I just heard I love it when a plan comes together. Knight of Pentacles. So we have some knights here. So this Two of Swords is really about things that you can't see, but that maybe you have to feel. But there could be a way that you've also been caught up in your energy because there's been things that you're giving to that just need to be put to rest, right? It's like a put it to rest energy, right? And I think that this is, it's almost like a tale of overgiving, and you're sort of rise beyond it and above it. And understanding too that like Saturn's lessons can, and this is Saturn twice here with Capricorn. Saturn's lessons can make us feel like hard work is like work that's productive and forward moving, but we can confuse these like loops, right? Not victory loops, but loops, 2 2 2 2 on the time. We can confuse these loops with something completely different where we think it's momentum, but what we're doing is understanding that it's just like, it's like doing jumping jacks on the spot versus running, right? They both are cardio. You'll sweat with both, like they're both exercise, but one, if you're looking for forward movement and momentum of some kind, running is the one to go for. And it's almost like this sort of tweaking an approach. And it's slow progress, but it's not, don't confuse slow progress with no progress, right? Because that can also be a Saturn lesson, because then you just get into this busy work. And maybe that's what this is here, like releasing this busy work. And it's almost like things maybe have become a distraction. Like there could have been a distraction of some kind. Not like distraction is in, temptation. Oh, it's nothing like that. It's more so just like busy work. Like it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just busy work. I'm going to pull one more on this Knight of Pentacles. Ten of Cups came out in the middle of the deck. Yeah. That's like... what just went through my head is like, I feel like this is about a relationship for someone. Ace of Swords. Ace of Cups too. Wow, the whole gang's here. And Six of Wands. I feel, for some of you, this is about a relationship. For others of you, though, I feel like this is really about understanding what it is that makes you happiest and turning towards that, right? This is like, I feel like this is almost like that idea of energy output. Like this is an energy output of going towards something. And these aren't the traditional meanings of these cards, but it's the energy that I'm reading. So it's like, this is like a motion card, right? Like, and it's like, I think about it in terms of that ADHD urge to just vibrate, right? Like you're just like, "Bleh," and you're constantly going. I've described it before I started really focusing on food and taking my omega vitamins in the morning. With a high EPA. I think for folks who are watching and who are like, hey, I have that too. That's what I take is Genuine Health. There's like a Joy one or something like that. It's a really high EPA. But anyways, before I started doing those things, sorry, I got distracted. It's an insert joke here. But before I did that, I would describe it as having bees in my brain. Like it would just be, sometimes it would be grounding that energy so that you could then work with it and it would become malleable. But if you didn't, it would just feel like bees in your brain buzzing constantly. So it's like that's this energy here. And they're both fundamentally the same energies. They're both nights, but one is transmuted and one is open and embracing, while the other is in the energy without seeing the energy for what it is. So I think that there's something here definitely with this contemplation and awareness. And I don't know why I'm getting that information on that, but it's still true, right? It's still relevant. So I feel like this Knight of Pentacles here is really about a more even exchange. And I feel like this is also gifts that we're giving, spiritual gifts, spiritual exchange, but something that's grounded and tangible, that it doesn't have to mean money. It just means something that is presenting a kind of stability for you or consistency, right? And then the World card here is, again, it's like this Saturn lesson of like, what's the work here, right? Same energy is two different outputs, right? Knight of Swords, fast moving, like go energy. Knight of Cups, a more embracing approach in the way that these cards lay it out. And I feel like that's kind of the difference here, like overgiving and giving, and how that shows up from Saturn or informed by Saturn. Yeah. And then I also feel like this Knight of Pentacles here is this slower approach, right? And it's okay to take a slower approach, because when I see this Knight, I think about when I was in high school, I had this amazing teacher. She had my back at every turn, to the point where like she would, she went away for Christmas holidays and let me cat sit at her place. So she gave me the keys and it was cat sitting for her, and it was wonderful. She was a brilliant human being and still is. And one of the things that I remember about that time and that point in my life, she told me that one of her favorite quotes that got her through some really tough stuff was, mark your progress, not your perfection. So whenever I see this Knight, it's like we can create these targets for ourselves, born of a Saturnian place within us of wanting to embody these disciplines and these responsibilities. But then what can sometimes happen is we miss the mark because we're not allowing ourselves to fully aim. And so it's like, mark your progress, not your perfection, right? Mark your progress, not your perfection. And that's really this here. And that allows you, it's like, it expands and it opens so much. And this drop into your heart card, really, I think this is where you start to do that. And that's why this is the energy to embrace here. This reading is so long already, Virgo. Oh my gosh. But I think that what you are embracing is a 10 of Cups. Like this is the truth for you, right? The truth of your heart space, the truth of your feeling, the truth of what you actually want, and that it is possible for it to become real, not just this abstract thought exercise where you're like, I'm attracting this. No, this is about the truth of your heart space and you bringing things toward you from that. And it doesn't have to, like, I think this is the energy that you're embracing right now. And this can, if this is not a relationship reading and this is more about work for you, I think that this can mean and maybe be as well. So this can mean and be a way that you're working differently. You're working from a place of your truth. Now, this doesn't mean that we're going to turn into like jerks and like start spewing our truth everywhere and be like, this is how it really is. No, because that's a shadow, right? It's about embracing your truth and what you want to do, how you want to lead, how you want to operate. Who are you and how do you show up in spaces relative to that part of you, to that fire, right? I know I have more air than fire in my chart, but when I was, in my 20s, I had managers tell me that I was too much, right? I think I was like 22. And, it was like a manager was like, you're really just too much. You're too much. And dead serious, like completely just deadpan serious, stoic, while saying it, like, so you can take on all these messages about how appropriate you are in terms of your reach. But I feel like there's something about your truth and your expansion here that you're really tapping back into, that you're recognizing about yourself. Again, it's sort of like this coming back to yourself. I feel like this sort of return to yourself, and the return to yourself is really here. But then I feel like that's what allows you to embrace this 10 of Cups. So Spirit, what messages do you have for Virgo? 6 of Cups, Chariot, Justice, 6 of Wands. Yeah, I feel like this, so I think this has to do with like old ways of doing things. Like this could be messages that you've had coming in about how things should work. But it could also just be that relative to this thing that you're blocking out, or like that you're burying. I feel like it's like this, it's almost an unearthing. So I'm seeing this, like, it's like in reverse. Like I was seeing dirt falling, burying, but then I saw the dirt coming back up. Like it's like this unearthing of something. So it's almost like it's not even a reversal of this card. It's just a fascinating interpretation of it, where it's almost like it's defying gravity, number one. Number two, it's like and this is where the timeline piece comes in, is it feels like it's rewriting something here for you, Virgo. It's rewriting something, or it's like bringing something into an alignment. Alignment doesn't do justice to the way that it's playing out here, because Virgo, I have so many words and I'm struggling with words right now to depict how I see this, but nonetheless, I think it's like an unearthing of something. You're unearthing yourself. You're unearthing yourself. And I get the impression that this is taken like a full lunar cycle. So it could have been something with the Scorpio full moon, where it's like you broke free. And now it's like cleaning this stuff off, cleaning the old off. But this, I think that this to me is a bit of a, this is a sense of some significant forward movement. There's a cause and effect here, right? Like you've made choices, and there are specific choices that you've made and things that you've done and haven't done, or, because to not choose is a choice, I guess, too, right? I think about when it comes to like, I was thinking about that relative to protests that I've done, and like, to not participate is a choice as well. Not to say that everyone has to do that, because that's not everyone's thing. And I fully respect that. But it's like the choices that we've made, right? Forward movement or not. But I feel like this is like, again, this is like the timeline thing, right? Like I saw those 2 ropes in the Taurus reading. And it's like there's something about timelines shifting and coming together in a way that is very forward moving here. And this could be because this is Cancerian energy in the Chariot, and Cancer is the 4th house, which represents ancestral inheritances from maternal sides. This could be a correcting or a shift in timelines on relative to that side and healing those timelines. But the Justice is cause and effect, right? To me, it's like Ace of Swords and 2 of Swords. So it's like the cause, Ace of Swords, which is already here. And then we have the 2 of Swords, which is also here, right? So it's like cause and effect. These are the decisions that you've made. And I feel like there's like this bravo you sense to this, because there's something about timelines shifting in a way that is bringing success together. It's bringing something together for you. It's bringing something together for you. I don't know why. So I heard right now success in the absence of caveats. So I don't know if you felt like success is conditional or circumstantial. Like it's not like it I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what that meant. Ace of Wands, though. Spirit, what messages do you have for my wonderful Virgos for this Sagittarius full moon on this Ace of Wands? It's almost like this is the story of those timelines, like shifting and working and moving, and the energy just like being really cool to watch. 3-3-3-3 on the time. And then it's like there's something about this. It starts to like burn a hole in the awareness that you had of the life that you lived. I don't know if this could be called a spiritual awakening, because it could be for some people a depth of awakening. If nothing else, certainly a realization. But I almost feel like this is like burning off the net of an aura that was around you before, and it's like welcoming you into a new, I want to say life. That feels very dramatic though, but maybe, I mean, that's like good drama, right? Welcoming you into some kind of new life. Yeah. I feel like that's the old. That's the old. And like, what a wonderful thing to have fall away, right? What a wonderful thing to have fall away. Because this isn't even self-doubt. This is like doubting the world around you. It's doubting the world around you and whether it's actually possible for it to give you things and to just be good, right? So it's like, I feel like that's kind of burning away here, if it hasn't already. Yeah. Wow. So this is, I feel like this is where this 10 of Swords is coming in. So we have the Nine of Wands, the Seven of Swords, and the Three of Swords. So I feel like this is like, this wasn't just like a, run-of-the-mill disappointment. I feel like this was really, it's almost like this was like a way of life. Jeez. When I see cards like this, I'm just like, man, like that was like, been there. But also, like, there's a different way. So I feel like this is really comforting to me to see, because I feel like this is like how the light gets in. Is like, it's almost like these are all different versions of you, maybe, or parts of you, or parts of experiences that you've had, and it's like you're choosing to move on from this 10 of Swords, like you're laying it to rest. I feel the Death card in here somewhere. King of Swords. I feel like this transformative energy for you. I feel a transformative energy for you where it's like, this is, here, let me put these down, I'm fiddling with it. I do feel like this is, there could be something to do with your 8th house that's activated right now. Like 8th house is like what happens behind the scenes, like sex, death, and taxes. But like, I mean, those are not things that happen behind the scenes anymore, really. Like, right. But it's also, I'm just getting that energy on this where it's like a transformative process for you, but there's like a real clarity. Like you emerged a king, you emerged a member of the court, as opposed to, staying stuck in this like spinning wheel of a 5 of Swords or 7 of Swords or 5 of Wands. And you know what I mean? Like you emerged from it. And I feel like this is sort of like how you got, I do not watch this movie a lot at Christmas, though I am nutty for Christmas. But it's that movie where it's like every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings. I don't even remember the name of the movie. I think it's A Wonderful Life. I've not watched it with any regularity. Christmas Vacation, however, that is my jam. But I feel like that's what I just heard, is like there's some way that like you got your wings, or like this is you, like your earth angel disposition. Like that's where you're I'm hearing you're learning how to fly. You're flying. This is like your wings. I'm just going to pull one more. Spirit, can you give me one more aspect or piece of guidance here for Virgo on this, how the light gets in on this King of Swords? I feel like there's, I'm going to, 10 of Pentacles and the Empress. Dang. Yeah, I was thinking like there's something big coming in through this, because you cannot transform at this level with nothing, right? And you have an Ace of Swords with nothing, just meaning like there's something that is naturally going to replace what was changed and shifted, right? So I feel like this Ace of Cups and this Ace of Swords is like, that's the new, is like truth and love, and the truth of love, the truth of your heart space. And the heart isn't just about romantic relationships. It's also about a love for what you do and where you are, right? How open are you to wonder that undoes you? How open are you to that? Sometimes I'll be on trails, on hikes, and I will look up at the trees around me, and I have these moments of bliss where I tear up, because I am just thinking to myself, despite everything that is going on the planet, these trees have existed for hundreds of years of our nonsense. Hundreds of years of our nonsense, and that's what it is, right? Because it's all a story. It's all made up. So it's like this is through all of this. Ooh, I had that same feeling with the Taurus reading. I'll get these like, I know it's not hot flashes, but it's like this wave of heat. But I just got that on that feeling, like, and it's just like tapping into wonder that just absolutely undoes you in the moment and brings you to tears or makes you question, not the big, existential questions necessarily, but just, how do I not notice this beauty around me all the time more often? How often is it here and I just don't see it because I'm not looking, right? That kind of energy. And I feel like this is your foundation, right? This is the foundation for everything from this point forward, right? And that's the beauty and the wonder here is like, that's the drop into your heart, the contemplation, the beauty, right? Where all of this is not emerging, but exists on its own. And this contemplative act that you're stepping into, Virgo, of just seeing it, it's like it's changing everything. It's changing everything. Wow. Okay. I'm chuckling because I'm like, okay, Spirit. Like, this is amazing, Virgo. I feel like it may not have felt amazing. Like Ten of Swords. But the Ten of Swords is also like pain with purpose. It's pain that had a purpose. It had a reason. And you may not have seen the reason while you were going through it. And it hurts. Like, I get it. There are some nights where you're like, I don't even know, right? I just don't. And it's okay to be in that uncertainty. It's okay to feel pain. But I feel like there's something about not letting it stop you, but also not letting it harden you either, right? Not letting it harden you. And I think that you're not, because like you don't get this kind of beautiful energy if it's hardening you, especially because this came in the embracing position in the spread and not the release. So I'm going to pull from the Notes from the Universe on Love and Connection deck by Mike Dooley. They chose you. Okay. Open your heart to love, Virgo. I feel like if it's not love, there's like, this could be a job or something. They chose you. They chose you. I'll read the back to you because it's even more beautiful than this sentiment. You might not readily believe this. It might even spook you a bit, but there are those who chose this very lifetime in large part knowing you'd be there. Now that's what we call a reputation. I'm smiling so big, Virgo. You can't see it, but... I feel like we all need a little bit of that wonder, you know? Pucker up, Buttercup. Oh my gosh. Yeah. On the back, I'll read this to you as well. Being fair and reasonable will earn you respect and admiration, but being genuinely kind will make you a total love magnet. Go for love magnet, the universe. Yeah. I feel like that's what you are right now. You're like a manifesting badass. I feel like it's like, this is amazing. I feel like there's like this quiet awareness that's starting to emerge that you can really do anything. You can do anything. And that's beautiful. Sleep is a spiritual practice. Heck yes, it is. And I think it's just like listening to the ways that your body needs rest beyond that, right? And not like not berating your body either. Like I took yesterday off and this morning the Wi-Fi was down and I had to go to the doctor's appointment today. All good. It was just blood work for my T. That's, the interval that it's at. I have to make sure it's all good. And it was just like all of these things. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not upset at myself or this process or anything. And, so I was just like, forget it. I just gave up on upset. And it just, this deep rest, like that too counts as rest, because giving yourself a break and letting yourself off the hook from having to do like everything and be everything to everyone all the time, bleh, it's just not helpful. It's not helpful because you can be in this beautiful power. You can be in this manifesting power, this beautiful heart space, your love. That's, being in touch with that, but it is completely inaccessible to you. And I think sleep is a spiritual practice, remembering too that there's like a way to cultivate rest. I kind of, when I was in grad school, I kind of fell off and fell out of it a little bit. But so I've been like in the past year or so recultivating sleep habits and good hygiene for sleep. But like, blackout curtains, making sure that that's like, you can see me reach for the curtains, but they're blackout curtains, and like making sure that there's ways that you are winding down and allowing your body to feel safe enough to trust that sleep is not going to be another, like, it's just not another thing that you're doing. Like, it's like you've got to really let your body relax, but it's like cultivating a spiritual practice around sleep is really what I'm talking about here, right? And like before sleep, I'll read for a little bit to let my mind calm down, and not reading anything that's 4 on the time. Not reading anything that's like activating, right? There's a book that I read once called Nothing Much Happens, and I cracked up because it's just like bedtime stories for adults where like there's no drama and there's no like activation or anything like that. It's just relaxing, right? So reading something like that, or just giving your mind a chance to be. I go over some things that I'm grateful for mentally, and I hang out with my cat. I pet her a little bit and ask her how her day went. But it's like, and obviously there's like, for me, there's visualizations about a potential partner in there too. Like, what would I say? How would I, how would they fit into that practice for me? But it's about making sleep a spiritual practice as much as anything else is, so that you can really ground and anchor yourself. You can ground and anchor yourself, your spiritual self, as much as other things happening in your world. And I think it's like we forget these little habits, like sleep. A lot of people are like, well, it's just something I have to do so that I don't hallucinate. Like, it's I'm kidding. But it's like, we think about it in those terms though, like, oh, sleep, like but it's so important, not just to like hormone production in your body the next day, but also like regulating moods, to just also like making it so that it's possible to exercise, because the hormones that might make you feel motivated to do that, to do things like stay active and not just activity, but doing things like motivating you, all of those hormones can become inaccessible to you if you're not cultivating good sleep habits. There's a book about hormones. I think the author's last name is Turner. She's Canadian, and I read it a couple years ago, and it's sort of where I started to understand that like hormonal reactions were, and I mean like, tell me you're trans without telling me you're trans, like being super interested in hormones and how to increase your testosterone without taking testosterone. But that idea of like hormones and the ways that our habits like sleep affect it. I don't know why this is relevant, but for somebody maybe, but nonetheless. Spirit, what messages do you have for Virgo? This is a monster reading, but you're worth it, Virgo. You're worth it. I make time to recharge my battery. The world needs my energetic light, which can be inaccessible if we're not, right? So Virgo, that is your reading. I hope this resonated. If it did, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you on the channel if you are not already. And if you are, thank you so much for watching. I'm really grateful that you're here. So thank you for that. And there are other ways you can connect on the channel throughout the month, so do check that out. But if this is where we part, I hope that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, it finds you very, very well, my friends. Take care.